Hello and welcome to Chelsea versus West Ham United build up. The lineups are just out. We'll start with West Ham's as always. Fabianski keeps his place in goal as Pellegrini brings the changes back for Ryan Fredericks, Ogbonna, Balbuena, and Aaron Cresswell. Rice and Noble centre midfield with Lanzini, Anderson, and Arnautovic, who's supposedly playing right wing tonight, and Chicharito up front. Tom, what's your initial reaction to the lineup?
Happy, sort of. I think it's sort of the most attacking, I guess, we could have gone, bar having Andrei Yarmolenko in the team. I think defensively, for some reason, whatever reason that is, Ogbonna stays in and Diop doesn't. For me, obviously, the Balbuena-Diop partnership, I thought right around Christmas time and the new year, when we were starting to sort of string results together, was working well. So maybe he's seen something in training. Maybe Diop has a slight issue. We don't know. But other than that, no, pleased with the team and glad to see Fredericks back in at right back. So yeah, I'm semi-optimistic now I've seen the lineup.
Charlie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. The Diop Balbuena thing is the interesting one for me because obviously that was the partnership we all sort of loved back when it was happening. The only reason I'm sort of fine with it continuing to be Ogbonna as opposed to Diop is Diop's played such a huge amount of games. That, you know, there's no harm in resting him. And I think, being honest about it, whoever we played in this game was probably going to struggle. Although I think Diop is our best, at least physically, centre back. You know, I think that's the case.
I completely agree why he's gone with Ogbonna. I think he's been in better form recently. I think Diop's been struggling the last few games. Might be because of the amount of game time he's had, as Charlie's alluded to. But the Diop-Balbuena partnership is sort of proven, whereas the Balbuena-Ogbonna one, they've not had a good game together. Granted, they haven't had that many games together. Marko Arnautovic was due to be on the bench tonight with Michail Antonio starting right wing, but a few hours before the game, he was sort of ruled out with a dead leg injury. Tom, right wing position for him is sort of allegedly, we'll see if this is the way it lines up, Tom, but are you confident that he'll do the job out there?
It's an enigma, isn't it? It's, you just don't know what Arnautovic is going to turn up. Is it the one that is supposedly, you know, fighting for the cause and fighting to be in a West Ham shirt and wanting to prove to everybody that he deserves his place in the team, that his heart is still in London? Or is it going to be the Arnautovic that looks like he's halfway to China or another club and just doesn't want to put in the shift? I think it will be the latter. I don't see since January when he's played, he's just put in minimal effort, and I've not sort of appreciated his, you know, contributions, as I'm sure it's the same with most West Ham fans. I think obviously his mind has been elsewhere. He's been troubled. So on the one hand, yes, he's a world-class player on his day. Like, nobody can take that away from him. He is a fantastic, strong, bullish winger, striker, whichever position you play him in. But it's just whether he can get his mind right, and I just don't think it's right at the minute. So I'd like for him to have the impact, but just no, I don't think he's going to tonight. I think it'll be same as we've seen the last few weeks.
On the bench, interestingly, is no Pablo Zabaleta. It's Adrian, Masuaku, Diop, Obiang, Nasri, Snodgrass, and Lucas Perez. Charlie, the right back one, when I did the preview with Gonzo, we were sort of unsure as to who we'd like to have seen there. He's gone with Ryan Fredericks. Is that the right call for you?
I think whoever, again, same thing, whoever played in that position was going to have a tough time and probably going to struggle, at least in certain aspects of their game. I would have gone for either Fredericks or Johnson. I think, although I don't think you should make a decision based on someone's contract situation, I think you should make a decision for who's best for that game. I do think that we should have a look at those two options a bit deeper, and these are the sort of games where it's like the ultimate test. I think Johnson came in great in his first game against City, but I do think putting him in his natural position and playing him a bit more would have been my preferred option. However, the logic to go with the faster player is obvious, and I think is a safe decision.
Let's take a quick look at the Chelsea 11. They make two changes from the side that beat Brighton midweek. Kepa continues in goal. Azpilicueta, right back. Rudiger comes in for Christensen at centre back alongside David Luiz with Emerson left back. They can keep the same midfield three with Jorginho, Kante and Loftus-Cheek. Hudson-Odoi continues right wing, Hazard left wing, and the last changes up front where Giroud is dropped to the bench and Higuain comes in. Tom, is that a team of sort of superstar names, but are they a superstar team?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting really with Chelsea this season. They've obviously I guess to any other team sort of outside the top six, it would be a good season. But obviously, Chelsea owner and a manager, they obviously demand a lot of their team. And with names like that you've just mentioned, you would expect better. But no, they've got some good players all individually on their day, are world class, some of them. I think potentially for us tonight, the big thing, I guess, maybe is sort of maybe Emerson being at left back, if we can attack down that Chelsea's left-hand side. I know obviously Alonso, I think, is out with injury or he's on the bench, even though he's not having sort of the best of seasons. But it's hard to pick a weak link in there because they do have so many good players. But, at the same time, I think going forward, they are so potent. They've got one of the best sort of individual players in Eden Hazard who can and regularly does and pick us apart, as and when he wants to. So, no, I think it just all depends on what Chelsea team turns up tonight. But I'm interested actually to see with Hudson-Odoi. Obviously, he gets his first start in the Premier League. And I think the kid, from watching him for England through the past 2 friendlies, whatever, the kid looks really dangerous. So I think, it'll be interesting to see how hungry he is tonight to prove a point to his manager. So I think, based on that, we might be in for a torrid time, with our fullbacks, especially, at the helm of them two, because I think they're going to cause absolute mayhem tonight.
Charlie, what's your initial thoughts of the Chelsea team? Is this one that sort of strikes fear into you, or are you thinking there's enough there to have a go at?
I think it strikes fear into me in the sense that they've got a lot of strong players in positions we're not great at. I look at Hudson-Odoi and I look at Hazard, for example, and I think as long as Sarri just tells them to go past our fullbacks and just drive it low across the box behind our defence, we're screwed. Although Higuain hasn't been in incredible form by any stretch of the imagination since coming here, the guy is a known finisher and he is not stupid. And I think if any manager looks at us, you can see our weaknesses are abundantly clear. That midfield, again, will probably outrun ours, will outdo ours. And we've gone very, very attacking. And I don't think we're going to be able to match them in those areas. So I think our approach of going for it in a very attacking sense, putting out a very attacking lineup, is maybe arguably the best one we could have done. Because if you're not 100% confident that you can defend and stop them, why not just go for the kill and try and beat them? Because Chelsea aren't as strong as they have been in recent years.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's made changes from the Brighton team midweek, actually. I thought they were really, really good against Brighton. Brighton did have a semi-final, so I think they weren't quite... There was no bookings that game. To give it a little bit of context, there was no crunchy tackles going in or that, so it was easy. It could have been for Chelsea, but they were fantastic. Hudson-Odoi is causing havoc down that side, but the surprise for me is the fact that he's taken Giroud out. I thought Giroud was sensational against Brighton. He really makes Hazard tick, and I suppose it's going to be interesting to see if Higuain can fill that role a little bit by bringing Hazard into the game as much as they did. The one thing that does worry me, even though I've seen the lineups now, still worries me, is N'Golo Kante's runs against Brighton. They were fantastic. He kept running into that box, and Brighton were lost. They didn't know how to mark, and they were busy trying to keep an eye on Loftus-Cheek, on Hazard, etc. And Conte just kept running in. And my concern is he's going to do that just now, because Declan Rice will be keeping one eye on Hazard, cutting in from the side, etc. So it's down to Mark Noble, I guess, to keep an eye on Conte's runs. But then if you do that, you've then also got Loftus-Cheek coming in behind him as well. So trouble in there. I expect Pellegrini to drop Lanzini back for this one. I think we're going to play a 3. I think we'll see Noble and Lanzini just in front of Rice and almost keep Anderson and Arnautovic out wide with Hernandez up front, because any other way you look at our starting 11, if we go 4-4-2 like we just did against Everton, they're going to tear us apart. If we go 4-2-3-1, as Charlie's alluded to, the 3 centre midfielders will have fun in there up against Noble and Rice, and our 2 won't be able to touch the ball. Tom, what's your final thoughts on the game, please? You've seen the lineups now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, really confident, mate. No, I mean, I think it's look, we need the points. We need to be going for 7th. I don't think the season's necessarily over in that respect. I think we do have something to fight for. Form, we've been so inconsistent of late. It's been a win, a loss, a win, a loss. I just hope for our fans Monday night, that they get up for a derby against Chelsea, a London derby against Chelsea. But it's one thing hoping for it, and it's another thing actually doing it. But for me, I do think that we're going to get pasted tonight. I really don't feel optimistic. I just think that they're going to have too much, like you said, not just in midfield, but I think that Sancho and Hazard are going to have a field day and either make it easy for Higuain, or they'll just make it easy for themselves and they'll do the work for themselves. So I'm probably going to go and say 3-1 Chelsea tonight for myself.
Interesting. Charlie, what about yourself? Are you a bit more optimistic than Tom, or are you expecting the West to win?
I'm about as optimistic as Tom, unfortunately. Yeah, the reason I allude to a 4-2-3-1 is just because I don't think we can stop their midfield whatever we do. I don't think we have the players to combat that, so why not just go for it? But as you say, you make a good point that Lanzini will probably play deeper, and then we'll be less attacking, and then we'll have less chances on goal. I just don't think we've got enough to stop them, and I don't think we have enough to fully damage them if we were full and firing on all cylinders. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reasonably optimistic. I think we'll score tonight. I know Tom's given a score prediction of 3-1, so he's thinking we'll score as well. The Chelsea defence is there to be got at. I think Emerson's not had loads of game time in the Premier League. He's played a lot more time in Europa League. It's a completely different ball game. Azpilicueta's been poor by his standards at right back, in my opinion, this season. So it'd be good to see if we could get them. A lot of it depends on Marko Arnautovic tonight. It really does, because if he turns up and he's in the mood, that gives our attack an extra dimension. He might be able to help some Hernandez create an assist or whatever, link up well with Lanzini, etc. But if he can't be arsed and he's in another one of his moods, Emerson will slaughter us coming down that side, because Ryan Fredericks, who's, in my opinion, struggled at Premier League level. He's looked good in some games, but in other games he's looked a fish out of water. And if you're going to put him up against Hazard with Emerson running at him as well, I think it's going to be trouble for our right back. But saying that, we do usually turn up for games like this. And there's got to be a reaction. Pellegrini's one of the changes. I think this is the best 11 Pellegrini put out. I wouldn't have minded seeing Sammy Hernandez restart, but all things considered, I think it's a really strong lineup from Pellegrini. Charlie, can I get your score prediction as well? Tom's gone 3-1 Chelsea.
Yeah, Tom stole mine. I was going to say 3-1 as well.
I'm going to stick with 1-1. I'm going to be slightly more optimistic than you two.
every time I am optimistic, we end up getting battered. So it's probably best that I say that we're going to lose, and then we obviously go and win. So
yeah, you can't lose. You're either right with the score prediction, or you're happy that West Ham have got something. But anyway, you can join us for our match review over on the other channel. I'll be joined with Tom and Gonzo straight after full time, hopefully celebrating a decent performance from West Ham tonight. Anyway, that's been Charlie, that's been Tom, I've been Joe, we've been Hammers Chat. Thank you very much for joining us on this build-up. We'll see you soon.